Hello, welcome. I get to see some of the faces which I don't get to see in the other call. Hello, Francine. Hello, Prita, and the others. Great. Yeah, cool, awesome. There we have so many participants. Super nice. Um, Thanks so much for joining. And thanks for also, I can't remember who it was, for initiating this session. Sometimes I have many people from the US, and sometimes I have none, and no one comes. So it's nice that there's a few people here. So we can, yeah, it's a kind of open forum. Whoever would like to start by asking or commenting or sharing something, and then we can just go from there.
I was
Go ahead.
so I've
Oh yeah, and
noticed.
maybe if you just say where you are currently
All right,
based, I would be interested where everyone is.
okay. I'm in Ottawa, Canada. So the capital of Canada. Um, and my name is Prasin. Um, what I wanted to share was I noticed that when we started labeling both the body sensations and the mind activity, I noticed that if I label the body sensation, there's a thought that is almost.
Your audio is very muffled. I can't hear you that well.
Okay, I'll try and put my speaker closer. Does that work?
Yeah, that helps. That helps.
Okay, perfect. So I noticed that when I have a label for a physical sensation, then there's almost automatically a thought that comes with it or a commentary that comes with it. So if I notice, for example, pain, then there's commentary like fear. There's something comes up with it. And I know this morning, I think you said try and do them one at a time, handle one thing that shows up at a time. So I was wondering if you could speak to that.
Mm-mm. Yeah, this is super nice that you are noticing this. This is really the first step in Vipassana meditation is to be able to tease apart the body and mind. The body and mind is always arising together as a pair, and there's many things happening there. So there's some sensation, and then there's the mind's conceptualization of it, imprint of it, perception of it, and maybe also a reaction to it, liking it, disliking it, resisting it, and then maybe even more stories gets created from that. So it's so nice that you can see that you can start to see, hey, actually there's something going on there. There's some feeling, and there's already the mind coming in so quickly to put something extra. Um, in terms of labeling it, just notice whichever is more outstanding, whichever is more obvious in that moment. If it's more the sensation of it or the mind experience, uh, conceptualization, abstraction of it, or the reaction to it, the fear or the resistance or the disliking, or if you just notice the unpleasantness of it, just labeling that. And by nature, your awareness starts to get sharper and sharper, and you can start to see that actually as separate things happening. So first there is the sensation, then there is the mind's interpretation of it, then there is some reaction to that, and but it happens so quickly. But before there was this whole chunk of experience. Oh, I have a pain and I don't like it, and I'm already afraid of it because it means that something's going wrong and blah blah blah. So that whole chunk, we didn't look at it closely, but what's really happening there, so that we're starting to tease apart with our awareness what exactly is happening.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Mm, mm. Yeah. So this is comment further, this is really the seeing how interrelated body and mind are, how they are constantly causing each other so quickly. Sensation, thought, sensation, interpretation creates more feeling, and how they're so interrelated. And that would be the next step in Vipassana meditation. The first step is to be able to tell there's two separate things happening. Second step is to see how they are causing each other. Not analyzing it, but just seeing it. Just seeing it, not needing to think about it. Yeah, great.
There's one that I haven't been able to, um, well, I don't know what's happening, but I get really heated. There's a lot of um, like warmth and heat that's created. And I just noticed, but, and I try not to analyze too much because I tend to be an over analyzer, but I'm trying to just stay really neutral to the experience. But it happened twice and it was quite uncomfortable. So heat and then discomfort. And I'm
Mhm.
not menopausal or anything. It's not related to that, I don't think. I don't know.
Mhm. You notice anything before the heat starts? Some state of mind that precedes the heat?
Mm, mm. I I have not paid attention to that, but now.
Yeah.
Um, good
So,
point.
so there can be various things happening, and it's not too important to try and understand why. Just see if you can bring more awareness to that and how heat starts. Heat starts somehow in the body. Maybe it starts small, and maybe there is a reaction to that, a reaction of discomfort, a reaction of maybe there's impatience, maybe there's some usually heat activation, this energetical activation more related with aversion. So maybe if there's irritation or impatience or something like this, stress. Um, and that happens so quickly, as we were just talking, it happens so quickly. The mind is in this state, more heat gets created, more aversion, more heat. And so that can happen quickly. And then we realize, oh, wow, there's so much heat and it's so unpleasant. Um,
And
and
I
our
might have created it. I might have created it with my that flow of thought that everything is good for.
yeah, don't worry about I wouldn't put I created it. It's like identifying with it. It's just more cause and effect. The nature of body
Okay.
and mind, the habit of body and mind manifested it. Everything has cause and effect, and it
Mm.
is a habit that's showing itself. And there you have the opportunity to release, start to release reactivity or release um, aversion to that state. And again, the job is just to separate what is the mental component, separate what is the sensory component, separate that moment to moment, just by being aware of body and mind.
Thank you.
And little thing is checking also if there's tension in the body. Like if we're trying to sit still very intensely and we might be accidentally tensing muscles, jaw, hands, shoulders, belly, face. So checking once in a while also is am I still but relaxed, not still and tense. Yeah. Something else from you, Francine. I'm sure this is helpful for everyone.
Well, yeah,
Go ahead.
because I didn't go on the other call, so I notice also that when you say a couple of minutes left, when we're walking and you say for the last few minutes, it either does one or two things. Sometimes if you, like when you said, put even greater attention to the breath, then I was very concentrated right at the end. And then one time you didn't, I think you, well, it's not important the words, but it was that idea that it was ending. and I got this sense of hurrying. I
Of
got this
hurrying.
sense hurrying and wanting to get to the next thing. You know, it was in the walking, and then I thought, okay, and I found myself like, but I didn't know how to label that. It was like, well, I guess I could have labeled it hurrying. I don't
Yes,
know,
exactly.
but oh, really? Okay, but it felt like all of a sudden that tightness, you know, like a constriction. I think.
Great, great. Yeah, so that's a common reaction, and saying that, hey, there's just a few minutes left is also a little bit like teasing out sometimes that what is there, what's your reaction? Do you get excited about it? Do you feel frustrated, impatient, and start rushing? Maybe you start feeling like you want to walk faster or something like that. And it's not really me saying it that's causing it. It's something inside there. There's some habit, and that just triggers that. And I say that. So again, in that moment, what a wonderful opportunity to see this and tease this apart. How this is happening? Oh, I see contraction, hurrying, rushing, tension, effort, frustration, impatience, annoyance. All these labels you can use. But then also again back to just simply walking, not staying too much in that loop of just unpleasant and trying to make it go away or something by the label. Then it's also not just mere awareness. um
Come back to
so
the step
yeah,
right left.
just
Yeah.
resetting in every step, resetting. And yeah, every trigger is an opportunity to see what exactly happens in body and mind in response. And sometimes if you really catch the moment where you see um that happening, if you catch that moment, like you hear the words, oh, just a few minutes, and then maybe you catch that initial moment of excitement or initial moment of frustration, and if you catch it right then and there, it can dissolve and disappear right then and there, and doesn't go on to snowball um,
So
into.
I feel it. I feel the rushing coming, and I bring my focus back to my step. Is that what you mean by catching it?
Catching it, I mean, you see it arising, the emotion, the feeling, the thought, and you
Yeah.
just label that. You notice that,
Or
annoyance, or you,
label it right away.
yeah,
Oh,
you momentarily focus on that thing arising. And if you catch that thought as it arises, it doesn't affect, it mm, doesn't cause the usual chain reaction that happens.
okay.
Yeah.
Very good. I think I'm clear now.
Yeah.
Those were
Good.
my elements of questions. Thank
Good.
you.
Good. Good. Thank you, Francine. Great. What else is there? Who would like to speak? Or you can also write in the chat your question, no problem. Maybe Prita, not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Since I think you asked for the Q&A, right? Do you have something that you want to ask? Okay, Wi-Fi issues. Do you have something that you want to comment, share, question?
Hey, hi, Rema. Thank
Hi.
you so much for changing the time and scheduling this based on the US time zone today. So my question is, when practicing the Samatha, I feel like it was just in 3 days, I become more like settled and more easier to follow the steps. Uh, but when I switch it to the Vipassana, I feel like more distracted. When I'm seeing something, hearing something, I started thinking about all the experience associated with those like sounds or those images or something. So I feel like maybe I'm not clear about what's the purpose of it. Like I know the samatha is like settling down, calming of the mind and the body, but what is the what is the purpose of doing vipassana in terms of mind and body connection?
Yeah. The purpose of it, I mean, that's a quite big question, but the purpose of it simply is to observe all phenomena of body and mind and not to react in the usual habitual way to them. The habitual way is either pushing them away or holding on to them, and just be merely aware of them. And so it's true that because we start to open up more our awareness and actually allow other stuff to happen, we can be more distracted when we start practicing Vipassana. We are allowing, it's almost like we are consciously allowing ourselves to be a little bit more distracted so that we can start to observe how the body and mind works, how the attention works, how reactivity works, so that we can gain insight into that process. Having said that, however, if you feel you are getting so distracted, you are unable to be clearly aware and you're just continually thinking, distracted, wondering, you can always shift the balance back into more in samatha. So you can shift back into really sharpening up, calming down more with just the breath, and then again a little bit more noticing other stuff. So it's our home base that we can reset back with. And the more skill we get, the less we need that home base. The more you can just openly aware whatever is appearing and disappearing, and clearly be aware without it pushing it away or holding on to it. But of course, that's practice.
Thank you so much.
How do you receive
Appreciate it.
that? How do you tell me how that lands?
So what I understood is like it's more like in practical situation in daily life, like seeing something and not reacting to it. I think that is like will be more easy if we practice the vipassana. That's the ultimate outcome. I think that's we can think of. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's the implication of it. One of the
Yeah.
implications of it is the habit of reacting is weakened,
Mm-hmm.
not because you are becoming a stone and zombie who is not responding to anything, but because you are just aware that what you are reacting to is not the thing on the outside, but is something on the inside, is some thought, is some sensation, some feeling in the body. And because you have a practice in observing that just as it is, it doesn't cause the usual chain reaction, or maybe that chain reaction is less intense and shorter in duration. In my own practice and other people reporting, like, as they start to do this practice more and more, maybe before they were pissed off for 2 days, then it becomes 1 day, then it becomes half a day, then it becomes 2 hours, then it becomes an hour, then it becomes 10 minutes. Sometimes it just becomes 3 seconds. So this is one of the outcomes. And if you, and then, sorry, one more thing to add to that.
No. I just don't want to interrupt. Yeah.
Because what then becomes the default state? So it's like, okay, I'm not reacting to stuff, and I go about my life, and then what is left? How do I live my life when I'm not moving out of reactivity, but just aware and responding to situations appropriately and more in line with actually the way I want to live? We are responding from open, spacious ease rather than reactive fighting, struggling.
Thank you.
Please go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just trying to, understand and simplifying the things that you were saying. Seeing and hearing the things just as it is and leaving them and just let it be. And not making and thinking about the stories or emotions associated with those stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I think a bit challenging. Maybe just started or beginning of this journey. Maybe with time, with practice, maybe people have. Yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just remembering that you can always come back more with samatha practice. You can always use samatha, more settling, more calming the body mind, as you were doing in the first days, to just reset. If you feel it's too much, just come back to samatha. If you know that helps you, okay, come back to that. And that's why we start with it. We don't start straight away with Vipassana, because it actually takes some calmness, some settling of the mind to start to see it, see how it works.
Thank you.
And thank you for sending the recording always in the chat. That's helpful. Okay, what else is there?
I would like to ask a question. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank
Hello.
you. I'm just driving, so I'm sorry that I cannot put on camera. It is end of the day in the Netherlands, so I'm driving home from work. I would like to ask, first of all, thank you so much for organizing those Q&As and for all the questions that we have heard so far. I don't know if the right word is struggling, but what I encounter is that maybe because I'm starting, but like it is a guided meditation, and for me it seems like so long. So what I'm experiencing is, even before sitting doing the practice, I already have in my mind, but oh, it is gonna last so long. So and because I start with this thought, kind of it keeps lingering throughout the whole time, because it stays with me that it is so long. So I just wanted to ask whether it is indeed, that I don't need to push myself, but indeed it is too long. Is it possible to start with less, or anything that you notice with the sharing of me? I would appreciate your feedback. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Yeah, thank you. So you can, when we make it this big thing, 1 hour thing that I need to do, it becomes very heavy, and we start to feel resistance towards 1 hour of my time. I don't want to spend 1 hour. I don't want to do it. It's so long. I could do many things. I don't want to be with this. So and just as you were saying, you are starting with that, and of course then that perpetuates throughout the session.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what I invite you to do, so assuming you will continue to do the 1 hour, is to break it up into manageable chunks. So, okay, 1 hour is a long time, but hey, you know what I can do? I can switch it on now. I can switch on the recording. I can manage that. You know what I can do? I can stand. I can manage that. You know what I can do? I can manage one step. Let's do one step. We know what I can do. I can do one step right now. So you just bring it to the moment, to what you need to do right now. Right now you can't do an hour. It's impossible to achieve an hour in the second. But the thing that you can achieve is one step. The thing that you can achieve is one breath. You can just be aware of this breath. You can just be aware of this step. Okay, right goes touch. I can do that. Great, you did it. Okay, what's next? Left goes touch. Bye, Francine. So just break it down into manageable things. And then when you notice the thought coming or the anxiety, oh my God, how much time is left? There's so much time left. Recognize that. Oh, it's here again. My old friend worrying, my old friend anxiety is just here again. Oh, anxiety, I see you. Thank you. Worrying, I see you. Thank you. Doubting about myself and if I can do it, doubting. You see that pattern of thinking, that recurrent pattern. And you just, hey, I can just manage one step. So just keep coming back to the immediacy of what you can do right now. And then before you know it, the gong will go. Before you know it. So this is the way to succeed the time. Not through willpower, not through pushing through. I'm gonna sit through this 1 hour and I'm gonna be so good at it. That's using effort and willpower. But using awareness and mindfulness to do it is just to do it, to be with what's here right now.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's really helpful, because you're what you said last, I was trying to have willpower. I know the intention that I started the course, and all those things. I was journaling, in between. But indeed, the willpower doesn't help, and it is probably not so much because it is long. Other thoughts come along of is it beneficial? Am I doing it right? So I recognize these patterns of perfectionism coming back into that practice as well. Those are things that I recognize from other current things in my life. So you're right, absolutely. It is a mirror. I recognize that it is a mirror of actually how I go about in life in general. So it comes back in the practice.
Absolutely. Yes. Nice that you see it this way. And don't worry, you don't have to succeed or make it go away right now. But
No.
so just chunking away a little bit at a time. And
Sure.
here you have the wonderful opportunity to see it and to work with it, and just one moment at a time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time to explain that so clearly. Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to our one-on-one on Saturday, right?
Oh, wonderful. Yes, me too. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to say a little bit more about this time thing, because I also used to meditate a lot in this way, especially going on retreats, and imagine it becomes, hey, I'm here for 10 days and I'm doing 10 hours a day, and oh my God, I cannot possibly imagine meditating 10 hours a day for 10 days, or even 16 hours a day or something, or all night. But you forget about that and you just bring it to the moment. No need to use willpower. And this is how we learn through experience that willpower is can be harming and a lot of resistance. There's a difference between willpower and pushing and commitment. Commitment is soft, open, committing to be here. Willpower is pushing and trying to succeed it. So yeah, learning about our own unique body and mind.
Yeah, beautiful. Because when you're talking, it really is it is always long. We are always so bothered by time when we don't live in the moment, right? Because otherwise, as you said, it is moment after moment, so there is no time. But time is only when we project it into future. Oh, it's gonna last an hour. But if it is moment after moment, it just lasts the moment when it is. So beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So there was a question, is changing posture okay? Sometimes I feel uncomfortable and change posture of sitting. Yes, you try to minimize this, but if you must, you do it. you change posture, you do so slowly, and just like when you transition from walking to sitting posture, you do it slowly, and you're aware of every movement. Same thing with changing posture. You can even use labels when you're changing posture. Let's say you are straightening up. You can just label as you do it, or before you do it even, wanting to straighten up, and then as you do it, straightening up. Or, oh, noticing discomfort, wanting to change position, wanting to change position. And maybe you continue mindfulness a little bit, and again, you notice, wanting to change position. Okay, maybe pain is getting quite strong, you need to change position. Okay. Intending to change position, changing, lifting, moving, adjusting, touching, resting, sitting, and then continue. So that movement of changing position is not a break in the meditation, it's just a continuity of mindfulness of the movement. And it doesn't disrupt your meditation. But if it becomes, you're sitting, oh my God, I need to change posture. Oh my God, I can't bear it. I can't sit still anymore. I shift, boom. Okay, oh, that was good. Great. Okay, let's start the meditation again. You're going to be out of it a lot. And it's going to take time again to build momentum, which is also okay. Sometimes that happens, no problem. But seeing if you can be mindful of the change. What else there?
Hi, could I ask a question? Ed.
Absolutely. No.
First, thanks so much for the course, really enjoying it and really find it helpful listening to other people because going through the same things. Yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. So I think my question's about the sort of the Vipassana stage we're at, and I'm using the label hearing a lot, but I've got lots of different sounds. I've got birds. I live near an industrial estate. I hear cars. And so I felt like I'm sort of going hearing, 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 hearing. And I just wonder whether, I don't know, and sometimes when I meditate before this course, I can have this open feeling where I'm just kind of hearing all the time, and I'm with my breath, and it's all one cloud of energy. That's how I kind of did it before. But I just wonder, do I just keep going if hearing's the thing that's happening to me? Do I just keep following the different noises? Or is there a point where I need to sort of, it becomes a bit manic and I need to come back to the breath? Or
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that makes sense.
That's a very nice question. And you are absolutely right. So not to keep circling and hearing. If it becomes that, just bring it back to the breath. But more importantly, it's not feeling like mindfulness because there are many things happening in the act of hearing which you can separate out. So there is hearing, the initial moment of hearing, then there's already the recognition of what's being heard. So you were saying there's car, there's birds, something. Yeah. So you might be able to notice that when you hear a sound, initially it's an energy, it's a vibration, and then your mind classifies that sound, and you might even see a mental image flash in your mind's eye of what you think is the source of that sound. So you might see a car flashing in front of your eyes, you might see some type of bird flashing in your mind's eye, and you feel, ah, this is a bird. And then maybe immediately preceding, immediately following that, there's some tone, there's some that tone is, that hearing was pleasant, that hearing was unpleasant, or something like that, something which is attached. So that's the body and mind working so quickly within the activity of hearing. So and this is becoming more into teasing it apart more, but what you can try to do is, instead of hearing and putting your attention to the perceived source of the sound somewhere on the outside, maybe over here or there, just bring your attention briefly to the ear, to hearing at the ear. So there's hearing and there's a vibration of hearing. There's actually a sensation of hearing in your eardrum. You might be able to sense some feeling of hearing. And then maybe in the next moment already, it's the thought about what is being heard, the car or the sound, and
and I label
emotion.
that, I label that thought as well.
Whichever one, because it happens quite quickly, so whichever one
Yeah.
is predominant in the moment, whether it's the sensation of hearing or whether it's the recognition or image, you can just label image or label seeing or label hearing or label pleasant or unpleasant or label, yeah, those would be okay. But seeing, if you can, just like when you were describing before this course, you were with the breath, and all hearing turns into a cacophony of energy where you're not identifying anymore what is. So if you're labeling hearing, seeing if you can make a moment of that happen, a moment of just hearing energy vibration before identification of the sound, before even the sound gets sorted, because also your mind is sorting. There's this soundscape, and then your mind is lifting up this one phenomenon, this bird or this car.
Okay, thank you. That's really, really helpful.
So separating mind and body. And actually, to take this principle further, the same thing applies to body sensation. So if you are feeling the touch of the seat, it's already the mind interpreting the sensation and putting there, oh, this is the seat I'm touching. But what is really happening? You're feeling a sensation on your butt. There's a moment of that. Then there's maybe the image popping up into your head of a chair, which you know that you are sitting on. So it's also teasing that apart. So this is deconstructing body and mind.
Okay, thank you very much.
And the purpose of that is to see how it works, to get insight into how this works, how body and mind works, and how it reacts, how misunderstanding creates the reaction, the reactivity, some state of mind. If it's an annoying sound, there's lots of things happening in order for that feeling of annoyance to come. But we usually don't see it. We usually just attribute this feeling of annoyance to the identification of a car being annoying, but there's many steps in between, many things happening in body and mind. So we're teasing apart, seeing it, and through that also releasing habit of
and I guess
pushing it away.
I guess when your sort of labels are too sort of abrupt or harsh, or like, well, sometimes when you're like, it's almost like a cross reaction, like I'm thinking, but if it is that and you're trying to stop it harshly, you're not going to notice the sensations, and you'll be able to. So that's for me another thing this has really helped this last few days is there's a softening and more of acceptance of thoughts coming in, and that's something I've really noticed. Well, I feel like there's been a softening there, which is bringing more understanding.
Have you practiced other Vipassana before? Goenka, 10 days?
No, never.
Okay. Okay.
So this is normally it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes, maybe 3 times a week for the last 5 years. So yeah, really enjoying the longer meditations. Don't think I'll stop.
Cool. Good. Something else from you?
No, I don't think so. Thank you.
Okay, great. Maybe last question from anyone. You still have something, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, Rosika or Rakesh. If you want to write in your chat, I see your microphone is not on.
No, thank you, Reimar. I'm complete. Thank you.
Okay, great. Then we conclude. Thank you so much for joining the session, and good luck with the practice.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.